name's Eric Benson. I'm an associate professor of graphic design here at the School of Art and Design, University of Illinois. And Fresh Press is a studio I started 12 years ago. And here we make paper by hand out of agricultural waste from the local area. We don't use trees, that's the big thing. And instead we kind of went back in time, right, in terms of how people made paper back in the day. So we're using agriculture. So we work with the student farm here and we're getting things like corn, rye, hemp, prairie grass. And we follow a very similar process to commercial paper making, right?
Interesting.
And it's on the back wall here. You can see the whole way it's done. It's just that we do it by hand. We get the stuff from the field, the harvest, you might want to call it, and we have to chip it down. Once we chip it, we can cook it, and that makes it, more malleable, and we can put it in our beater here. And then we go through the pulling and pressing and drying process.
Okay, so now we're at the third step, which is beating, pulp the fibers, and we're here with Meredith and E, both studio managers here. So tell us a little bit about this step and what we're going to be doing and why it's important in the process.
Okay, so we've already chipped and cooked this miscanthus, which is a prairie grass, and we're going to use a Hollander beater, which macerates the pulp. It macerates the fiber and turns it into a pulp by using this, it's like a water wheel of blades. It'll spin around and move the miscanthus through the machine for about, I think 2 hours gets us a really nice paper. So what it's doing is opening up the fibers. They've already been cooked for 3 hours. So that opens up the cellulose fibers and allows the papers to adhere to each other. And this is going to beat them to a pulp.
Literally.
And, yes, literally, that's what's happening here.
Now it's my turn. I put on my boots, gloves, and apron and gave it a shot.
Let's make some paper. Okay, so we just finished the beating, and now we're gonna actually pull sheets of paper from this.
Yes, so you're gonna take a mold and decal. You might have heard like fancy paper has a deckled edge. This is the tool that gives you that deckled edge. So you'll hold these in your hand and dunk them into the vat at a 45-degree angle, and then pull it straight up. And you do the little shimmy, kind of like you're panning for, yes. But first you want to hog the vat. Okay. So you spread your fingers wide and bring them down to the bottom and shake everything up so that the fibers are evenly suspended.
Now let's see if I can get this one. So we're gonna scoop toward me.
Yeah.
All right.
And just dunk it in and pull it right up and give it a little shake as the water drains. That was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, all right.
After twisting their arms just a little, Taylor and DJ agreed to step in front of the camera to try their hand at paper making.
Nice. I don't know, Tanisha, she might have you beat. Nice, that looks really good. Bravo, bravo.
Once you pull your sheet of paper, you can really get creative and make it your own, adding flowers, dyed pulp, and even a pattern to give it some edge.
Are people surprised with all that you can do?
I think so. I think so, yeah. There's always gasps of joy that happen in workshops because I think that we're missing a lot of this analog, being in touch with making and slowing down. So yeah, this is a moment that can bring us back in touch with that. I also think that it's a very accessible art making technique because you could do it at home with a dumpy blender from Goodwill, or you could do it here with this Hollander beater, but also you can approach it and never have done it before and succeed in doing something in just one workshop. You can add a lot more chemistry and do something very specific.
And now we press.
So Eric, you join us again for the final step. So after you press all the water out, you bring them back here and then tell us what happens.
So we will take the wet sheets and we will layer them on these blotters and stack them up, and we'll end up putting them into the dry box where there are some fans, and that air and these cotton blotters will soak the water out, and then you can have a finished sheet.
And that's the finished sheet.
Yeah.
Now, how long does that take? Once it's in the drying box, how long does it have to stay in there?
I would say a good average would be like 12 hours.
What made you want to get into this? What brought in the farm waste, the agricultural waste? How did these two ideas come together for you?
Well, I think it was just living in Illinois, right? I moved here from Austin, Texas, and how do I adjust to living in the Midwest? And so driving down the highway, I-57 up to Chicago, right, you see corn and soybeans and prairie grass, right? So I just started to embrace the land, and that led me here.
Okay, so this is your studio, right, E? And I'm looking here at all the paper here. This looks familiar. Looks like kind of what we just did.
It is.
The pulp painting. And you were talking earlier about how you incorporate a lot of this paper, a lot of these elements into your own art. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so this is the pulp painting technique that we were doing earlier, just with a larger grid. And then I bring it into these sculptural collages. And I also incorporate, so this is handmade paper and a little bit of pigmented paper from printmaking. And these scraps that I find, these are like pieces of graffiti I've peeled off of a building, other found objects like rocks. So I'm really interested in including the found objects with the paper that's also made of all of these other materials.
What is your long-term hope for this? You know, what's the dream here?
I'd love to replace tree fiber paper with the type of paper that we're making. That's a big goal, but in the meantime, I feel like I'm a community engaged scholar where I invite the community to the studio and I teach them about land stewardship and paper making.